Okay, I'm Steve. This is Fran. Today we've got very interesting Thermador versus BlueStar. You're either one or the other, but what do you think?
Yeah, so very different styles for sure. So let's start with cooking and look at pro ranges. And again, with both brands now offering all gas and dual fuel, kind of a newer integration here in the BlueStar family, where they never had really dual fuel or electronics built into the range or anything like that, and they definitely do now. So comparing them right off the bat, BlueStar really kind of known for that commercial heritage, used in professional chefs in restaurant kitchens, things like that is really kind of what they came from. And they were always known for that in their all gas range, that open burner, 25,000 BTU, open burner, tons of power directly at the center of the pan, but very different than what you find from just about anywhere else, where everybody else, including Thermador, uses that sealed burner. So in theory, easier to clean, but maybe not always the case either. Whereas the BlueStar, you can break it down very easily, bring it right to your sink, clean it right there, and continue to kind of replace any parts pretty easily that may need to be replaced or you want it kind of freshened up. So from that aspect, very, very different ranges, I'd say.
No question. In terms of everything, I mean, you're talking about BlueStar's got a 25,000 BTU max versus, and you get that on a couple burners depending on how far we go and which size, versus, Thermador's got really a confusing lineup of Pro Grand, which is deeper, and Pro Harmony, which fits within your cabinets. Pro Grand's got the 22,000 BTU burner, a little bit more capacity because of the depth, a few more kind of options. Certainly, it has induction option on 36, which is still hotter, faster than a BlueStar 25,000 BTU. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. You've got the steam ovens on the Thermador side, whereas you just get ovens on the BlueStar side. So it really depends. Yeah. I think in terms of the dual fuel, you only have a few choices on the BlueStar. Right. You have all burners or a griddle. And then you've got the X8 burner, but it's sealed, but it's not raised like the Thermador, so it's not as easy to clean. But you get a touch screen, but no Wi-Fi. Yeah. Whereas Thermador, you get Wi-Fi with no touch screen.
Yeah, interesting how that happened.
But what I really like about BlueStar, not that it's family owned and we're family owned, but you get 1,000 colors and 10 trim options. So if you want something unique, you can get that. And 75% of BlueStar ranges last year sold a year were colored ranges. It doesn't have to be, colors can be white and black, but it could also be orange, yellow, blue, whatever you want.
Anything you can imagine.
Plus a trim. But here's the funny thing is, if you don't like 1,000 colors, you can get a cinnamon paint chip and make it in your specific color. So you really get that option, whereas Thermador, it's one choice, it's stainless steel. But it really comes down to the technology side, right? Certainly on the dual fuel side, it comes down to, whether you want a steam oven and the warming drawer underneath and how big you want to go, versus a BlueStar will give you the, 60-inch, they'll give you a grill where Thermador does not give you a grill anymore, right?
Yeah. So they used to have the electric grill, they kind of removed that.
You get a French top as well, and the griddle versus an electric griddle on the Thermador. So you're really comparing two different ranges. Of the two, I like the BlueStar only because it's unique. And, when I look in this store that's 23,000 square feet, it's nice to see something other than stainless steel.
Yeah, for sure. And this is where, Thermador has really kind of always shied away a little bit from the electronics, and BlueStar is probably the only other brand that has kind of done that. But in the dual fuel, BlueStar has definitely incorporated some of that, but didn't get carried away with it either. They have a nice, easy to use screen, but it is still basic. Their whole idea when they came out with that dual fuel and that control panel was to still make it easy to use. So if you want to bake something at 350 or have convection roast, whatever it may be, it's a couple steps and that's it. The whole idea wasn't to have to click through for 2 minutes and figure out exactly what you're doing. So I like that for sure. And I think really for the ranges, whereas Thermador does do a really good job, I think, with their all gas range. If you're simmering, the extra low on-off simmer can get down really, really low at 100 degrees.
Thermador does a better simmer.
Yep, for sure. But then, I still think, at the 25,000 BTUs with the open burner, if you're looking for something that's truly kind of that professional style with not a lot of bells and whistles, BlueStar absolutely compares with them there in that all gas.
Well, there's no bells and whistles.
Right, exactly.
There's no bells and whistles on anything, literally, but there's nothing on that range.
Yep.
But I think in dual fuel, it really depends what you're looking for. I don't really think you can do a winner, but in all gas, I do like the BlueStar better. You get the pure convection oven, so it blows in from the back. It's one of only two that does that, so it keeps a much more even heat. I think you get the color choices. The open burner I actually kind of like. Unless you spill tons, then you got to clean that subtop. But you can break the thing apart, clean it at your sink at your leisure versus having to scrub down at the range itself. Again, you know, neither one have particularly good electronics. So you do get Wi-Fi in the Thermador, but I think from the output, colors, pure convection, I think the all-gas BlueStar is better range.
Agreed. Also, nice thing with the BlueStar is you can fit that commercial sheet pan right in the oven as well, where you can't really do that with any other range there either. And also, just to talk about induction ranges, so Thermador has a 30 and 36-inch induction. BlueStar only has the 30-inch induction today. They are definitely coming out with more bigger sizes, like a 48-inch. But today, I would say the Thermador, as far as their induction top that they have on their ranges, is a better induction top as well.
Yeah, I think in terms of induction, you're looking at Thermador. They've got the Liberty top.
Yeah.
Right, where you can boil, warm, and simmer, and set that on the burner. So you just sliding the pan in 3 different places. You can set the burner 3. Would you ever do that though?
Me personally, probably not. But I can see a lot of people that, you know, that
if you really like to cook.
Yes.
You have the ability to do something that you probably will never do, but for the few people I'm talking to, you can do that. Would you ever do that?
Listen, I'll be lucky if I can just complete a meal. So it's like, well, probably not.
For me, it's on, boil, off.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, I'm not doing anything too fancy.
For people that know how to cook, it's, you know, you can do that. But I think it's a better range than BlueStar's basic, but you do get the color, which is seemingly from people that are buying, colors becoming more of a feature.
Absolutely. So let's jump to refrigeration now between them. So they both, you know, again, they're both having columns to some degree. They both have bottom mount refrigeration, but definitely very different here too.
Yeah, I think BlueStar is very underrated in terms of refrigerators. I'm not going to give it to them here, but you know, you can fit a commercial sheet pan. It's all stainless steel, twin compressor. You know, you can get columns. You can get different Pro type units. You can't do that in a Thermador.
Correct.
Right? Thermador got rid of their Pro. Actually, they brought it back, but it's kind of a combination real integrated.
It's still integrated.
Not with the compressor top, but they do have their new 42 and 48s.
Yeah.
And 36s, which I don't really love. But I like the BlueStar, but I think Thermador has got more models, more features, and I think it's a better value.
Absolutely, and that's the thing too. So BlueStar, I like in their 36-inch. You know, it's kind of that Sub-Zero professional style with the compressor up top, which is nice also because, as you mentioned, it kind of pushes everything down. So you're not reaching as high up to get anything in there. Also, it fits a commercial sheet pan on there, but you lack some flexibility. Even on the columns, you're really getting stainless steel or one of those custom colors, but not necessarily a custom panel. Whereas Thermador, you know, they have columns in really any size you could want. You can panel ready, you can do stainless steel. The French doors come in 36, 42, and 48. Those are newer that, you know, you should definitely look at if you're considering, because the combinations, it's definitely one of those, you know, love it or hate it type of things, and it's a very different than your traditional bottom freezer.
I don't love that piece. I think it's inspired, it's different. If that's what you're looking for, that's great. You know, it's got the 2 different ice cubes, which is nice. It's got a drawer on the side. You can make refrigerator, freezer. Great. You know, for charcuterie or ice cream, you can do all that. Great. But when you do that, the refrigerator becomes elevated. Now, someone said to me, well, I don't have a problem. But whenever you put a drawer and it integrated with the compressor below, that shelf is really high. That top shelf is really high. I know because I put a Sub-Zero integrated with the 2 drawers. And, you know, I'm looking at mine. I don't really have anything on my top shelf. Not much. Anyway, I've got kiwis and some other stuff.
Whatever you don't need often.
Exactly, but I don't eat often. But just be careful when you buy one of those units. the style is really good, which is what they got right, but the actual function and execution, you may have a problem with.
Yeah. And I think that's all the categories here. As Thermador does dishwashers, BlueStar doesn't have a dishwasher.
Thermador dishwasher, steam ovens, speed ovens.
Correct.
It's more of a complete
Yes.
line. When you're looking at BlueStar, you're looking at focal point type stuff, cooking, refrigeration. In hoods, their hoods are awesome.
Absolutely.
I love their hoods. We used to sell them, this is before your time, you know, in the 80s, there was a Danish company called Abaca, and BlueStar bought them out. Their hoods are just magnificent. So if you're looking for real focal point hoods, they're as good as it gets,
Absolutely.
I think.
They have a ton of options, and they'll pretty much customize anything for you too.
Customized color. Them and La Cornue are really, really great hoods, but expensive. You're looking at 10 grand a hood. So from a hood standpoint, I think theirs is better. But again, you know, Thermador, you're getting yours for free with the 1-2 free program. But I love their hoods. But for everything else, you know, Thermador is a much more complete line. They have the 1-2 free. You get some of the stuff for next to nothing too, which is going to be, you know, it's got to be considered as part of the purchase.
Absolutely. And definitely one of those things, you know, just because it's free, you want to make sure you're still doing your research and making sure it's the right fit for you there too.
Exactly. So that's it. If you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.